segment here with the resisted bands. All right, I'm actually going to do it without these. They get in the way. All right, so here's our resistant band routine. I'm going to start with just a little shoulder and T-spine prep work here. So I've got my arms extended down low and a little bit out to the side. I start with a little tension in my band here, just a little bit. And I'm just going to start raising the arms up about shoulder height and pulling the band across my shoulder. Inhaling here, exhaling here. 2 and 1. You can kind of relax here. We're going to take it up a notch. Going to work into a little bit more range of motion with that shoulder. Again, starting with a little tension in the band, I come up overhead now, stretch the band, and then come back down. Up overhead, a little pulse of the band as I reach up. And then I'm going to keep those arms extended overhead and just pulse into that. Little pulses overhead. 3, 2, 1. Come on back down. All right, same grip here. And working into a little bit more range of motion. Starting with a little tension. We come up all the way overhead with that band. And now when I pull it apart, I'm going to see if I can pass it behind my head or behind my shoulders before coming back out in front. Inhaling and exhaling. The exhale is when I go against that resistance of pulling the band apart. 2, 1 more, and 1. Very good. Let's take the band behind our backs, up underneath our shoulders. That grip, hand grip, is between my thumb and forefinger, and I can adjust that grip according to how much resistance I want. If I want more resistance, I choke up on the band. Less resistance, I come out towards the end of the band. All right, let's start with some air squats with a little bit of upper body work. So I got my feet outside my hips. I'm going to go into my squat, hinging those hips back, and I press out with my arms as I squat. There's 3. There's 2, and there's 1. I'll come back, take a little breather. All right, I'm going to bring my feet a little closer together, so now I'm going to step out wide. I'm not going into a lunge, I'm just stepping out wide, so I got a wide base of support. Before I squat, I come back. I'm going to step out wide, squat, come back. Here we go, a couple more on each side. Very good. Let's continue in that same plane, but we'll challenge our balance here a little bit. So I'm going to step out wide. I'm going to squat. This time when I come back, I'm going to lift that knee up before I set it down. Step out wide, squat, lift that knee up before I set it down. If the knee uplift is too much, you can just slide that leg up and toe off. We're challenging that single leg stance, toe up or knee up, and relax. All right, let's go into our lunge sequence here. Working different planes of motion, again with an upper body movement with the resistant bands. And we'll start with that forward lunge, stepping out, reaching out, or lunging. You can find a little bit more depth to challenge that core stability. Let's do 1 more on each side, 2, and 1. All right, we're going to continue with that same plane of motion with the forward lunge, but add a little rotation. So when I'm rotating at the hip, right? It's not just the shoulders or head. I'm rotating from the hip. So I come out and I rotate over that front leg. My head turns in the direction I'm rotating. I come back, I step out to the other side, same thing. Back and forth. One more on each side. Very good. All right, let's change the plane of motion. Stepping out into that frontal plane, but I'm also going to reach out as I step out. Sweeping that arm in front of me as I extend that arm and sweep it across my midline. I can make it a little more dynamic here, almost kind of skipping into it or hopping into it. Changing the plane of motion. I'm working that transverse plane, stepping a little bit behind me, 2, and 1. Very good. All right, let's go into those reverse lunges with our flyouts. So I'm going to step back into that reverse lunge, right? Flex here, and then when I bring that back leg forward, I'm going to fly my arms out to the side and to the front, retract back as I step back with the other leg. I can challenge my balance here as well. As I bring those arms out in front, I can drive that knee up. Here we go, one more on each side. 2, and 1. Very good. All right. Let's see. I think that's all the lunges. Let's take one side over shoulder. Keep one side underneath the shoulder. We have one side over the shoulder. Now we'll start with a little stretch high, stretch low, like a diagonal stretch. Come on back. Stretch it high, low. Come on back. Now I'm going to kick this leg out to the side, the same side where I'm stretching low on, and I'm going to stretch high on the other side. And then I'm going to see, if you're here with your balance, that's okay, just toeing off on that outside leg. If you want to challenge your balance a little bit more, you come into kind of a star pose here in yoga and holding into that and relaxing. And now we'll keep this arm tucked, go out to the side with this arm, step out, reach out. And I'm watching where I'm stepping and reaching here, turning my head as I step and reach. There's 3, there's 2, there's 1, and I'm also reaching high before I come down. So same arm, same leg, but now I'm stepping out, reaching out. There's 3, there's 2, and there's 1. Very good. Let's switch it over. All right, same thing on this side. I reach it high, reach it low. Come on back. Reach it high, reach it low. Come on back. I'm going to challenge my balance here, stepping out with that leg, toeing off, challenging the single leg stance. Come on back, keep this arm tucked, go out to the side with this arm, step out, reach out. There's 3, there's 2, there's 1. Same arm, same leg. I'm stepping out, reaching out. There's 3, there's 2, and there's 1. All right, let's take the band out in front. we'll finish with those lunge pull aparts here. So back to with our palms facing out grip, back to a little tension in the band to begin with, and then I'm going to step in or lunge into my pull apart here. And then come off, relax my arms at my side as I come back, alternating side to side. Here we go. And now we'll step out into that lunge and we'll hold into that split stance. And we'll do a little squatting into that split stance. We'll come off, relax. We'll go out with the other leg, same thing. Holding into that lunge. Flexing and extending, 2 and 1, and done. With the band for now, we're going to go back to it at the end.